Hello, my name is Mulder and welcome to our Maneater gameplay tips and tricks part 3. In this Maneater gameplay tips and tricks video, I'll show you how to take down the new apex predator hammerhead. Also, I'll show you how to take down the final 6 bounty hunters and what you should prepare when you're up against them, what new unlocks and upgrades I got after reaching level 30, where one of the best areas in the entire open world you can go to collect a bunch of nutrients rewards very quickly, and finally how to defeat Scaly Pete in your first boss battle against him. All that and more straight ahead. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. Now without further ado, let's dive into Maneater gameplay tips and tricks part 3.
Maybe there are things in the water that ain't in your textbook. Stick around. Maybe you learn a thing or two this summer.
Let's start things off with Apex Hammerhead. Now the Apex Hammerhead when I fought against him was a level 21 shark. This shark isn't very fast, but he definitely doesn't need to be given the fact that he can do a bunch of heavy damage with his bites, and he can take a lot of damage as well. This is a very heavily armored opponent. The best way to take down the Hammerhead shark is to use your speed against him, while also combining this with your bioelectrical teeth. By this point, if you've been following my other videos, you should have your bioelectrical teeth up to tier 4 by now. If you're only at tier 3, that'll do fine as well. The basic idea is to try to stun the Hammerhead shark long enough to where you can move in and get a few more bites before backing off. The Hammerhead shark can do an immense amount of damage. My best way of taking him down was I had to lure him out to an open area where there were plenty of other fish for me to get health, and then try to circle around him and stun him and bring him close to the ocean floor. Because this shark is so slow, its charge effects are actually pretty easy to dodge. Simply time it just right, dodge his attacks, and then move in and bite him, and then hit him with your tail to do even more damage, practically shocking him to where then you'll be able to finish him off pretty quickly. By this point, I also had bioelectrical fins, who I unlocked later by taking down bounty hunters, which we'll go over later in this video, which also helped shocking this shark, allowing me to do more damage before it recovered. You're definitely going to want to equip all your best upgrades when you take on this apex predator.
The bull shark triumphs, overcoming her opponent's clearly superior depth perception.
Now let's talk about the final 6 bounty hunters and what unique abilities I got unlocked once I beat them. I got a string of new bioelectrical upgrades that I was able to get once I defeated these bounty hunters. Some important notes to keep in mind before you take on these hunters. Bounty hunters 5, 6, 7, and 8 will be dropping bombs from now on while also being escorted by more powerful boats. They will also be dropping into the water now hunter divers. Hunter divers can now chase after you under the water while you're trying to sneak away while also shooting at you with harpoon guns. A single hunter diver isn't that much of a worry to deal with, but up to 2 or 3 can be a little bit of a problem. If you find yourself struggling against these hunter divers, simply back away from the fight, let the hunter divers go after you, separating themselves from the boat, chew away at them, get your health back up, and go right back into the fight. Bounty hunters 5, 6, 7, and 8 really aren't that much of a challenge, aside from their boats able to take a lot of damage. Also keep in mind is that now these bounty hunters no longer will sit on the docks of their boats. The only way to get them off the boat is by breaking the boats apart to where they'll fall in the water. Try to use your bone fin, or if you have it unlocked already, the bioelectrical fin to where you can do spin damage, smacking against the boat, and go down its health to where you can finally break it apart. Jumping out of the water, doing a spin attack in mid-air while over the boat and smashing against it while knocking the hunters off will do a lot of damage too. Once the roof of the boat has been smashed, this will give you the opportunity to jump on board and either grab the bounty hunter, or simply just smash the boat into pieces to where the bounty hunter will fall in the water, and there you go. It'll be over and done with pretty quick. Now the final 2 bounty hunters, 9 and 10, are a little bit different than the last. 9 and 10 will have fully high-leveled military boats escorting them, along with having their own military boat as well. You should try to be at level 25 or higher before you take on bounty hunters 9 and 10. Bounty hunters 9 and 10 will also have a new hunter diver with them called elite hunter divers. These hunter divers have more health than normal hunter divers, but they also do an immense amount of damage. The best way to deal with these elite hunter divers is the same way you do with regular hunter divers. Simply break away from the fight and let the elite divers chase after you. Regular hunter divers will also be escorting them as well. Leave them deep under the water to where the boats cannot assist them. Once these divers are alone, munch away, break them apart, eat them, get your health back up, and go right back into the fight. Bounty hunters 9 and 10 also have something else to deal with, which are brand new upgraded boats with electrical barriers. These electrical barriers can do a lot of damage to your shark if you're stuck into them too long. There are different ways you can take out these electrical barriers. I prefer the direct approach to where I simply just dive under the water as quickly as I can, ramming into the generator under the boat. I try to do as much damage to it as I can and get out of the electrical field before it blows up. Taking down the previous bounty hunters, I unlocked a new ability called bioelectrical body. This new upgrade not only made my shark resilience towards damage and also increased its electrical power, granted me a new super ability to where the moment I activate it, it turns my shark into a basic electric storm. Anything I attack immediately gets double damage, but also anything in the general facility also gets electrocuted as well. Once you break down the electrical barriers, this fight goes a lot more smoothly. The high-level military boats that escort the bounty hunters can be a bit tough. If you have your bioelectrical head or bone head to where you get extra ramming damage, definitely equip those for these fights. Simply keep ramming the boats and force the bounty hunters to dive into the water to where you can then finish them off quickly.
situation has escalated, and the price on the shark's head is risen.
Let's quickly talk about a brand new area that you can dive into the moment you become an Elder Shark. The area I'm talking about is called Crawfish Bay. This is the area that you first dived into when you were playing as the Mother Shark at the beginning of the game. This is definitely a place you want to go to the moment you become an Elder Shark. All of the caches and license plates are extremely easy to find in this place. I found all 10 caches and license plates in under 40 minutes. Definitely dive into this area once you become an Elder Shark if you want to get some easy nutrients rewards to upgrade your shark. Speaking of upgrades, let's talk about what I have equipped to my shark now. After taking out all the bounty hunters, I unlocked a slew of bioelectrical and bone abilities. Now you do have the choice of mixing matching these abilities. If you like to have the bone fins but combine that with the bioelectrical teeth, feel free to do that. Bear in mind you do get bonuses in terms of damage if you have a complete set. For my shark, I'm running all bioelectrical. My bioelectric teeth are at tier 5, dealing a high percentage of damage while also doing 10 electrical damage every single time I strike an enemy. Bioelectrical body at tier 4, which is damage resilience and increases my shark's overall speed, while also covering it in a plethora of electricity, and my super ability that automatically shoots out electricity towards any enemies that touch or I ram into. Bioelectrical tail at tier 3, which with just a swip of the tail does a little bit extra damage while also shocking my opponents as well. Bioelectrical head at tier 4, which not only does devastating damage to enemy boats, but has the power to push these boats away from me. Little side tip, if you want to take out boats easier, simply push them to shore. Once the boats get stuck on the shore, it becomes a lot easier to take them down. Bioelectrical fins, tier 4, where with just a simple spin, not only do I do heavy damage, but I also electrocute my enemies as well. If the boats take heavy electrical damage from any of these abilities, the boats automatically shut down, along with the crew on board getting electrocuted as well and getting stunned. This is very useful, especially when you're outnumbered every single time, especially in the bounty hunter fights. I'm now running fat digestion at tier 4, which allows me to get even more health when I consume other meat, preferably enemy sharks. Advanced sonar is at tier 5, and Hardy is also at tier 5, giving me max health and also a little better resilience. And last but not least, let's talk about taking down Scaly Pete the first time you face him. When you're first taking on Scaly Pete, his boat's gonna be modified and covered in heavy armor. If you're like me and I took on Scaly Pete after I fought a lot of bounty hunters, this fight's gonna be a breeze. Simply charge against his boat, smashing into it, doing a little ramming damage, then jumping out of the water using either your bone fin or your bioelectrical fin to do some spin moves to do some damage to the armor of the boat. The idea of this is to simply chip away his armor before the boat can fall apart. About midway point through this fight, Scaly Pete will call in for reinforcements. In all honesty, you can pretty much ignore these reinforcements, or if you're low on health, go after them and smash them apart so you can get a boost in health and go right back against the fight against Scaly Pete. Simply ram against his boat some more times, activate your super if you have one attached, but then also using your bone fins or bioelectrical fins to dump it out of the water and smash against the boat as hard as you can. Keep your eyes open for any TNT that's falling in the water, along with regular hunter divers that show up too. Try to take this fight into an open area where there's plenty of fish to get health, and before you know it, you'll take down Scaly Pete in no time. And that's it for our Maneater gameplay tips and tricks part 3. We've covered all the bounty hunters now, along with what unique abilities you get from defeating them, but we're going to be focusing on all the remaining apex predators in our next video, so be sure to stick around for part 4. As always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. Thank you so much for watching our Maneater gameplay tips and tricks part 3, and I'll see you soon.
We're about to blow! Get the f*** off! Forget it, boss! He's just a boat!